talking this afternoon a lot about fracking. Yeah, I guess everyone knows what fracking is. Yeah? To a degree. I think we're going to find out a lot more about what fracking is and also what it isn't in Ian's talk this afternoon. My name is Simon Welsh. I'm introducing Ian. I'm here as a poet, as a storyteller, as a Balcombe resident as well. I don't know if any of you have been to these Sunday events that I've been hosting, belted out at Balcombe. I've done 2 so far. Yay! We've got a 3rd one coming up on the 22nd of September. Starting to get tricky now, trying to liaise with the police and get the road closed again and again and again, but it's a protest, hey, so we're working together on that. I don't want to dwell too much, but I want to introduce a series of new concepts that Ian's going to touch on during his talk. Fracking is obviously scary, invasive, poisonous, and it really does seem that the government is sitting on information that is leaking out on the internet all over the world with regards to how dangerous and life-threatening fracking really is. And when I say life-threatening, I'm talking about ecosystems, water sources, people, animals, the very air that we breathe. And we have to ask ourselves why. Why are they doing this? You know, all these stories are coming out of the USA about people who are coughing up blood, people whose animals are dying, people who've lost all their water and are now fighting over water in their local communities. A lot of this has been happening very recently in Texas. I don't know if people have been following the stories of what's going on in Texas. It's terrifying. And if we don't stop it, it's going to happen here. Now, there's lots of potential agendas going on. You know, there's the alien agenda, if you're a David Icke fan. There's the conspiracy theory agendas involving Illuminati, Rockefellers, Rothschilds, potentially even the Queen of England. But if we look at this on an agenda-free level, where there are no conspiracy theories, just for a moment, let's imagine there are no conspiracy theories. It seems all this is being driven forward, this fracking agenda, by blind fear and greed. That's it. There are people sitting in seats making decisions based on wanting to earn vast amounts of money for themselves at the cost of all else, because these people work for corporations. And I don't know how much you will know about corporations, but in a corporation's internal charter, they have effectively an algorithm, I suppose, that states it is everybody within the organisation's job to make sure that profits exceed for shareholders year on year at the cost of everything else. And if somebody within the organisation is seen to be deviating from that, they get fired. So what you're left with is an entity that continues to move forward regardless of who is in the different driving positions within that institution. Do you see how that works? That's what makes this so terrifying. So we could say it's a conspiracy theory, or we could say this is potentially nothing more than a headless blunder operating under the illusion of a master plan. That's potentially even scarier. Now, I'm a poet, as I said, and a storyteller, and one thing that I have believed, probably since I was 12, is that something is happening on the earth that's very big, and people are stepping into, or being offered the opportunity to step into, a new way of being human on the earth. Now, I wouldn't class myself as a hippie. I wouldn't class myself as a spiritualist particularly. I do have a relationship with something bigger than myself. I don't have any name for it. I'm reluctant to use the word God because I don't follow any particular Bible. However, if anyone's seen Star Wars, you know the Force? Yeah? Could someone describe the Force to me?
It's with me. I'm a Jedi.
Yes.
I voted yes.
A Jedi in the room, ladies and gentlemen. The Force essentially is a universal energy that runs through everything and everyone, and it is the building blocks of all life. If you take biblical context out of the picture, that is essentially what God really is, outside of a biblical context. Now there's a book called Heart Mathematics, Heart Maths. It's written by a guy called Doc Childre. He runs the Heart Maths Institute in the USA. And over the last 50 years, they've been doing some very interesting studies on the heart. It turns out that the heart has 40,000 neural pathways, all of its own. This is the same as any subcortex of the brain, which means that the heart can take on entire emotional thinking processes. But because it's the heart rather than the head, it takes them on as feeling rather than thinking. And this is about intuition, this is about gut, this is about instinct, this is about putting one foot in front of the other when you can't necessarily see that the ground is coming up or guaranteed to meet your feet as you take that step. And when you operate with heart first and use head as a secondary driver of the human instrument rather than the primary driver, the ground seems to continue to rise to meet our feet. And what better way for people to start exploring this new way of being human than in a time of crisis. Now, Balcombe fracking thing started about 6 weeks ago. I got enrolled. I didn't know I was going to get enrolled. I just popped down there at 7 AM on the first day, and suddenly I was making videos and I was talking to people very loudly about something I could see happening. And what I'm seeing happening in Balcombe, that many of you have probably also seen, is that people are starting to connect together in the face of saying no to fracking. And it's happening in a real, tangible way. And coincidences and synchronicities are coming up to support people's agenda when that agenda is less personal and more global. We are in trouble across the planet because fracking is happening in England and Europe, and there are other things that I'm sure Ian will talk about during these talks that are happening all over the world that are like fracking and threatening to destroy the ecosystems of our planet so that we eventually cannot feed ourselves. Organic farming will become a thing of the past, and the FDA will be in charge of rolling out food and water, I'm sure with the help of Nestle, who recently said that they didn't believe water was a fundamental human right. Did you know that? Yeah. They're the biggest producer of food in the world, and they're saying this. Absolutely. So, I'm going to leave you with a poem, which is about what I see happening in the world at the moment in a very exciting way, and then I'm going to pass over to Ian. This is called the 0 point field, and it's dedicated to 0 point energy, which essentially is the space between atoms, or what actually exists in the vacuum of space. Science now has proven, by the way, that this exists. Very exciting times. Just outside of space-time is a place you've always been, though it may be that you cannot well remember what you've seen. All of who you are is there, not just 10%. The real you is quantum. You vibrate with pure intent. A frequency of light and sound, directed here and there. You don't exist at all, and yet you're always everywhere. The moment's all there is, and can't be measured on a line. There is no right or wrong, because the moment is divine. You are the creator of the frequency of youth, born in swirling symphonies of nothing but the truth. Age cannot affect you, for the only moment's now, and your mission is delightful, to explore yourself. But how? As truth, you are the answer to the question with no name. The journey lasts forever, and it's nothing but a game. So when you last decided that you'd like to come to Earth, that you wanted to explore human beingness from birth, you knew what you were doing. Your choice to come was true. You manifested simply in the frequency of you. But somewhere, you forgot the truth, let it fall away. You forgot this was a game, that your mission is to play. But now you are remembering that truth is who you are, that you are not your body, nor your thoughts about your car, nor your marriage, nor your misery, your spectrum of emotion. You are just a drop of water, looking for the ocean. But here's the thing, a drop of water falling from the sky does not attempt to take control. It doesn't try to fly. A drop of water gives itself to gravity and peace, and when it hits the ocean, it's the ultimate release. We are like those drops of water falling from the sky, but we do not surrender. We resist, and here's why. We're scared of life. We're scared of death. We're scared of being bold. We're scared of one another. We're scared of growing old. We're scared that if we join this ocean, we will disappear. We're scared of what will happen if we give in to that fear. But just the other side of fear, whispering and true, is the 0 point, our place of birth, calling me and you. So when we let our conscious thoughts descend, like drops of rain, they can sink into the heart and join the ocean with no name. And there, together, consciously, as many and as one, the 0 point will shine through us as brightly as the sun. Wow.